Today we catch up with Seth Hynes to discuss everything new from HH Catamarans following his recent appointment there as president and our recent appointment as the distributors for Australia and New Zealand. Join us as we dig in deep on the exciting new designs from this up-and-coming brand. All right, so today we're here with Seth Hynes from the sailing family and now new ventures as well.
Yeah.
Seth, it's been a big week.
It has been a big week. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Brent.
No worries. So not only this week have we announced that we're finding a new home, a new family for Archer, the Ultramare 51, but you're joining HH Catamarans.
Yeah. Yes. For those of you that don't know who I am, my family and I have been cruising for 3 years on Ultramare 51. And we've left Boston and sailed here to Sydney, Australia. And it's been an amazing trip, but it was never, I'm not retired yet, unfortunately. But fortunately, I was able to get a job within the marine industry with HH Catamarans. So I'm just really excited.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen the channel and the videos that Seth's on, it's a fantastic channel. It's probably the one our family enjoy the most because there's some kids involved and we've met the kids. They're great, great company. And you've been to some amazing places with the boat. Yeah. And you're a passionate sailor. And that's what I enjoy. You kind of get into the sailing side of things a bit.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, and fun to be on a performance cat. I had a Lagoon before and I love that boat. And it was a great, all boats are different. All boats are trade-offs. And there's a big spectrum between kind of a charter cat or a cat with a lot of volume and a lot of living room. But a true blue water cat, you go towards that performance category. And we've really enjoyed, this performance cat that we've had. And I'm excited to work with HH Catamarans, who is the ultimate performance cat category.
Yeah. So with Multi-Hull Central, really happy to be finding a new family, a new buyer, a new owner for Archer, which we have here at the moment, and it'll probably go to New Zealand at some point. Yep. But which is exciting. And but we are also super excited to be coming on board as the Australian and New Zealand agents for HH Catamarans too. Yeah. So that's an exciting chapter for us to open as well.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just my choice, but the team at HH Catamarans really recognized that Multi-Hull Central has got a great coverage over the Australia, New Zealand, and kind of sort of South Pacific region, but then also just a great knowledge of what makes performance catamaran special and how to sell them. And so we're really excited to be partnering with you guys as well to help explain kind of what these boats are to the market, because this is more of a semi-production boat. It's not a mass-produced boat. So there aren't a whole bunch of these out on the market. And so we need folks like you that really understand cats and what makes a blue water boat to help explain and introduce this type of a boat to the cruising public.
Yeah. So just briefly, we won't go into too much detail now because we'll expand on this later, but give us a snapshot of who HH are and what they're about.
Yeah, so HH, we've got some good footage of the boats behind us, but HH stands for Hudson Hakes, and those are the two co-founders of the business. So Hudson is the owner of the business, and Paul Hakes is the builder. He's a Kiwi builder, and together they've come up with these incredible boats. They enlisted Morelli and Melvin, which is if you don't know them, one of the absolute top yacht design firms in the world. They're based out of California. And they've designed some of the world's fastest boats and cruising boats. So we've enlisted them to build the boats. And then Paul Hakes himself is an incredible builder. He's built an America's Cup boat in Germany, and he built PlayStation. Yeah. So he's a very reputable high-end builder. And the combination of these factors together has created this pretty cool brand.
Yeah, and that's really what Paul is aiming for, to produce the best boats in the world.
Exactly.
Catamarans.
Yeah, this is there are no corners cut. This is as fine of a boat as you can buy on the market today. So you're buying a very well thought out premium design from Morelli and Melvin, and then you're paying a yard to produce that boat to just the absolute perfect spec. They're putting as many man hours into this boat to make it perfect as humanly possible. And they're using China to do that. So the boats are built in China today and potentially in the Philippines in the future. Yep. With those two factories, you're able to throw just unlimited man hours at a project. So when you're competing with brands built in France or other first world nations, you could put 50,000 labor hours into one boat instead of 30,000. and still be competitive on a price point. And that's what they're doing by producing these boats in the Asian markets.
Yeah, so it's like the HH50, is it? That's 50,000 man-hours into the boat?
50,000 man-hours versus maybe 30,000 for a comparable boat in Europe.
Yeah, wow. So, and just talking about that, there's essentially two product lines as such. The HH, which the brand is built on, the full carbon.
Yep.
A lot of it's pre-preg carbon. Masterm rigs, just
100% carbon. Yeah.
It's just a beautiful all-round package there for, true sailing enthusiasts. And then the OC, the Ocean Cruising Series, is a more cruising-oriented package.
Yeah, and so that's pretty new. So we're excited. I'm really excited to be part of this brand because we got some video footage of the boats that they've built before, but they've tended to be the bigger side. The brand really started with the 55 and the 66 models. So these are huge, catamarans, and these are 100% carbon. The entire boat is carbon. Even some of the furniture is carbon. And on one boat, all of it's carbon. So there are semi-production boats built for racing, built for taking on, gunboats and the fastest boats in the world, Fujin, and taking trophies home for their owners. But then you can also go cruising on them afterward. And that's really where the brand started. But very recently, we've just started building the 50s. And then we've just added, you referenced the OC line, the Ocean Cruising line. And so that's a completely new range for HH. And so I wouldn't be surprised if most buyers weren't even aware of the HH brand because it's kind of usually out of most people's reach, my reach for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't cruising on one to begin with. But now they're building 50s and they're building an OC50 and an OC44. And so those two boats are a little bit less of all of the race gear. So the way we kind of differentiate it is HH is it's the best cruising boat you can buy, 100% carbon fiber, but with all of the latest and greatest racing technology that you can have in a boat. So the boats are cruiser racers, where the OC boats are ocean cruisers. So they're kind of lacking a little bit of that racing DNA, but you're not paying for all of that racing gear that you're probably not going to need. You're just focusing a little bit more on a cruising boat.
Yeah.
And so that helps bring the price down a little bit. The boats themselves are no different otherwise. The hulls are the same, the materials are the same, the fit and finish is the same, the labor that goes into it and the construction is the same. There's no two teams or differentiation in the boats in any way, other than just you're not paying for all the racing gear. So you might have mini keels instead of 5 meter tall pre-preg carbon dagger boards, or you might not have shear load pins, in the shrouds to measure load for racing needs. The ocean cruising boats typically have one helm instead of two, because when you're racing, you want to be able to steer from either side of the boat. But when you're cruising, you're usually going to set it and forget it, as they say. So those are kind of the differences. But we're excited about having those 50 footers and 44s, which are designed where couples can sail them. And then we're now reaching kind of a price point where you're reaching more of the mass market.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting. So people that appreciate some performance, appreciate getting the miles down, and getting good average boat speeds and sailing in more moderate conditions rather than out in fresh stuff that you need in the big heavy boats. Probably going to really find these OC models quite appealing.
Yeah.
And then, you can option up and then you end up at the HH anyway if you tick all the boxes.
Yes, you do.
So people that want all the go fast and the technology and all of the extras, the HH will be quite appealing. So I think it's going to be quite interesting, particularly the 44 and the 50 models. I can see a lot of our clientele being really attracted to those boats. And there is some serious innovation that have gone into those two models, serious innovation. It's really exciting to see. I mean, they've done a lot of stuff in a
Yes, they are.
package.
Yeah, I mean, so the HH50 and is it's a 100% carbon fiber hull. And pre-preg dagger boards. The boat is a screamer. It's also an incredible cruiser, but it's also designed, to carry a heavy payload. So all that carbon in the construction, it's carbon with epoxy resin, which is important.
And that's important, right?
It is important.
The epoxy is a higher grade of resin in essence.
Yeah. Most people don't seem to care what their boats are made out of, but that hull will last 100 years, and those boats will hold their value longer because people know that the boats are built so strongly. And you have the confidence of going cruising on a boat that is basically indestructible. And so strong to the fact where if you wanted to, you could fly a hull. I mean, the HH has never lost a mast, and the boats are so strong that, if you really push the boat, you'd have to really push it to do it. But if you push the boat, it could take it. So that's a a really big difference in a jump up in quality from a lot of the catamarans, even cruising catamarans, even performance cruising catamarans you're seeing on the market today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's now a diesel-electric hybrid.
I knew you were going to talk about that.
I'm quite excited about this because
Yeah.
I think it's such a great solution.
Yeah.
It's a practical solution compared to what, I think there's been a lot of interest into getting into electric solutions, but it's either sort of one extreme or nothing.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the package that HH are bringing.
So for 2022, HH is the first company in the cruising world that offers a parallel hybrid across all the models. So every single model can have this type of an option now. I will point out, though, it comes standard with the HH44. That's our newest boat that we're building right now. And what it is, it's a parallel hybrid. So it's a hybrid, meaning that you've got the diesel engines that are connected to a shaft drive. So you obviously can propel the boat in a traditional sense. But there's also 10 kilowatt electric motors on each of those engines. And so for you combined, you've got 10 kilowatts of power with pure electric. So the boat can be, you have a choice as an operator. You can run it 100% electric, or you can run it diesel. And the advantage here is you can also disengage the shaft with the diesel engine so that you have those as generators. And those electric motors act like alternators, so massive alternators.
Right.
And so the boat comes with 3,190 watts of solar, which is an industry-leading amount of solar. This is the 44-footer. 3,190 watts of solar.
That's extraordinary. On the 44-footer?
Yep. And that's not even on the davits. So that's just on the cabin roof. Because the entire boat's been designed from the ground up with this whole eco drive, we call it eco drive, parallel hybrid drive in mind. So the boat is basically 100% electric with unlimited range. You've got the sail, you can sail the boat. The batteries, if it was 100% charged up and then you turn the sun off, the batteries would power the boat for about 2 or 3 hours. And that's more than enough to take you out of the marina, get you out to the wind, point into the wind, hoist your sails, go sailing for the day, come back in and dock in the marina, and you never even need to turn your engines on.
Yeah.
And then while cruising, with the sun out, because we can't just turn the sun off all the time, with all that solar, you're really adding on to that longevity of how many hours you could run those engines. And in fact, you could run your air conditioner in your main cabin for 4 days off of the battery pack alone. So you don't even need a generator anymore to run your air conditioning with this type of solar and battery setup. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And I guess what I like about that is that it's essentially a marinized diesel motor, but full electric hybrid connectivity. Yeah. So like you said, if you're out in 20, 30 knots, you can punch through it with the diesel if you need to, if you're running low on batteries. But if you've got that, nice conditions where you want to turn the motors off, have that range capacity that you're extending your range by electric drive, you flick it over and you're on electric only.
I think the simplest way to describe it is it's an electric boat, but then you have diesels, your traditional diesel backup. So when you're out of power and you're on a lee shore and you're in danger, you have the reliability and faith and trust that you have in that diesel setup. You just engage the diesel instead of charging the batteries to run the electric engines. You just engage them into the shafts.
So you've got a super efficient sailing boat, a super efficient auxiliary motor through electric drive, backed up still by a diesel marinized motor.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a pretty cool setup.
Yeah, and eliminating a genset, the need for a genset.
Right. Yeah, you could almost think of those two engines now as gensets if you were to think of them that way as well. Yeah. Because they can run and charge the batteries too. Yeah. But you definitely don't need a third diesel. And really the goal here is to never need the diesels. With that much solar, you probably really don't.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, listen, we could spend hours and hours talking about this stuff, and
I'm sure we will.
Unfortunately, you're going to leave us for America, but we really appreciate your time here, and we've enjoyed catching up. And no doubt we'll probably tune in again several times over the next 12 months to get the latest about HH and also what you're up to. Yeah. So thanks very much, and we look forward to sharing some information about HH Catamarans. Get in touch with us. We can download some information packs from our website. And the good news is delivery at the moment is inside around that 2-year mark, which is won't stay that long that way for long, I don't think. But in the short term, we've got some capacity to supply boats, which is fantastic. So very exciting. So thanks, Seth, and look forward to seeing you on the water.
Thanks for having me.